Hello, welcome to Bowtiful Bows and so much more. I'm Helen and it's lovely to have you with us today. Today's video I'm going to do a collaboration. What I found recently is that when I'm trying to look at a pattern, I find that the pattern picture on the front obviously is a great thing to go off, but I actually really like to then search the pattern on Google Images, on Instagram hashtags, to see the variety and all the different ways that other people have made the pattern, and also how it looks on different body types. So I recently discovered in my sewing group from my measurements and chatting with my my sewing tutor that I'm an apple. Lovely. I'm an apple. So I'm an apple shape, and obviously when they do the patterns on the cover, their models are very often very young, very pretty, very slim. So a top that looks wonderful on them may not look exactly the same on me. So what I thought I'd come up with was a few months back, I reached out to another lovely sewing vlogger who I've followed, well, really ever since I've started sewing clothes earlier this year. And that's the lovely Anna. And she is on the YouTube channel, You Got Me in Stitches. I will put all the details for everything down below. But basically what I did was I just sent her a little message saying that obviously I loved her channel, I love seeing her content, and would she be interested in doing a little pattern together so that you, the lovely viewers of our channels, could see how patterns look when they're interpreted by different people with different sewing abilities and different sizes. And Anna was really happy, I'm glad to say, to work with me on this. And what worked really well was shortly after I got in touch with her, she uploaded a few pattern haul videos where she showed all her patterns. I think she did it over 3 videos. Do go check them out. And 1 or 2 of the patterns that she had, I realised I had the exact same pattern. Now this one that I'm going to do today is New Look 6434, and not only did Anna have the same pattern and she said she'd wanted to make it, but she also said that she wanted to make the same view as me. So I will show you. This is the pattern we're talking about. And Anna and myself had both thought independently that we wanted to do view D. So I said to her in a message after we'd agreed to do the collaboration, how about we do this pattern? We both want to do view D. And she was totally up for it and thought it would be a brilliant idea. So we decided to do this pattern. And my first problem when I started with the pattern was I realised that the pattern I had, or my copy of this pattern, was actually pre-cut because I got it from someone else and cut to a size 10. I am not a size 10. Maybe a few years ago, not at the moment. So I then said to Anna, oh, I'm sorry, I'm a little bit behind. I'm going to have to think about what to do. Do I grade it? Do I do this? Do you know what I did in the end? I bought the pattern again, and I bought it in the correct size so I could cut it out. So when I looked at the pattern, obviously the first thing you do is look at the requirements and the sizing on the back. Now, I had this exact same issue if you go back to my hashtag sew a top that I did, which was a review of a McCall's pattern, which I will put a link somewhere so you can go and see if you haven't already seen it. In that when I did the sizing in the sizes it said that should be for my bust, my waist, my hips, I come out as them saying that I needed to sew up the size 20. And as with then, I didn't think that was really going to work. I thought it was going to be too big. So I actually did a 16, and funnily enough, it's exactly the same with this one. So according to the pattern sizes they gave, I should have done a 20, but I decided to go with a 16. And actually, based on the finished garment measurements, it was definitely much more a 16. So for anyone who's not done patterns before, it's quite scary, I find, to see these big numbers bandied around. But actually, at the end of the day, no one knows what size you sewn up, apart from the fact that I'm telling you all. They just see the lovely finished item. So you've got to get a good fit, and then it really doesn't matter. But definitely the 20 would have been too big because the 16 worked out perfectly. I took my inspiration from the main picture on the packet. I really like the blue with, I think hers is actually a cream, and she's got it all scalloped at the bottom. But obviously I'm never going to find that exact fabric for that, but I did find a lovely fabric in my local haberdashery Fabrics and More down here in Plymouth, and it is this gorgeous, I hope it shows up well on camera, but it is blue with really shiny gold feathers. Can you see? So I've used that, and then where they had the scallops at the bottom of their fabric, what I've done is I bought some trim, which if you follow my Instagram, you will have seen I posted some pictures of this trim because I loved it. So I got some trim to make it look like scalloped on the bottom, and I'll just see if I can hold that up for you, and it looks like this. So I've got these lovely tops. So as you can see, my finished top is blue with this lovely gold, and then the trim. So I was really pleased with the fabric I chose. I was really pleased with the size 16. Obviously I'll probably put it on and show you, or I'll insert photos or videos, but I thought I'd have it here to show you a few bits. So I found the pattern actually really straightforward, which I was quite relieved about, because you'll know when you follow my channel that I'm quite new to the sewing garments, and I do often struggle with the big four. I find that the big four patterns can be a bit vague with their instructions, and because I'm still relatively new and I don't really know the terms or how to sew garments that well yet, I tend to veer towards the indie patterns that have a lot more instructions and photos. But I have to say, this new look pattern, this 6434, I found the instructions really good, and it's a really nice straightforward top, and like my McCall's, it's got this lovely sleeve detail. So I'm very into adding a little bit of detail to my tops at the moment because I think that looks really nice. So sewed up really easy. So like I say, the only thing I would have issue with is the sizing. So if you're going to make this top, then just double check the finished garment size as well as the recommended size, and gauge it from that, because mine was more of a 16 than the 20 that it said. So one thing I've learned from my pattern making is I'm very bad at reading the back of the packet when it says what you require. I tend to buy fabric, and in this case also the trim, and think brilliant, great. I've had this issue with quite a few patterns where it then says using your binding to finish off, and it's like, I didn't have any binding, and I don't want to make binding because I'm lazy. So the only binding I had was this sort of mauve purple colour, but it's inside, you know, when you've got it on, nobody can see it anyway, and it does the job. So note to self, read the packets. It does actually say on the back in the requirements, where is it? There we go. If you can see it, where is it? I'll insert a photo because I don't think that's going to work, but it does say 1/2 inch wide single fold bias tape. So lesson to Helen, read what you need before you start the pattern. So luckily I did have this bias binding, which I used. I also was quite excited to use this little handmade, I think they'll probably be backwards, but it's a little handmade by me label. I actually bought a whole strip of these at the Knitting and Stitching show in London a few years ago, and I've never used them. And then I was sitting doing my sewing and I thought, oh well, I'll put a little label in. So I added the label, and I had to improvise with the binding, so it's not the right colour, but I don't mind, it does the job. I had the same thing with the back of this pattern that I had way back in my favourite New Look pattern, which you'll see I've done, I think 5 now, which is that it's New Look 6217, is that the instructions say to cut on the fold for the front, but to cut 2 pieces on the back, and then sew up to a certain point, and then to leave a little opening and do a button at the top. So as you can see, I don't have a button, and I found this the same with the New Look. I found that once I'd finished making this top and I put it on, I don't need a button enclosure on that top piece, because I can actually put it straight over my head. So I actually then did a little zigzag stitch to finish the top, to sew that together. But in when I do cut another one of these out, what I'll actually do is make that back piece on the fold. So same as the front, obviously take into account the seam allowance on the pattern. So take that seam allowance off, then cut it on the fold and just do it as one piece, because it slips over the head. So then that saves having to worry about doing that little opening at the back or putting a button on or anything like that. It's a straightforward sew. I did think about putting the trim around the bottom of these lovely sort of fluted sleeves, but two reasons I didn't. Firstly, I thought it might look a little bit fussy because they're, you know, they're not very big, unlike the bottom, which is fine. And also it's, I think it would be quite itchy on my arms. So all in all, I absolutely love this top. I love the fabric I chose. I think it's a nice, easy sew, and I can definitely see me making them again. Like I say, excuse me, like I say, I would not do the join at the back, make it an even quicker sew, so you can whip up a few more. So I would definitely make this. So as we said, it's New Look 6434, and it has got other views, which I may try, but I do think I'll probably do this one with the sleeves again, because I like that detail on the sleeve. I think it looks great. So I will put in some photos. But I wanted to say, do go check out Anna's video as well. And I think we'll all be interested to see how Anna's top came out, what hers looks like compared to mine, what she thought the pattern compared to me. I just think it's really helpful to have more than one view, and hopefully that you feel that too. That's why we decided to do this for you, so that you could see how it turns out and how it might look on you, because you might not look like me, you might look more like Anna, or you might look more like me, you might like her fabric more than mine. You know, all these things are why we sew, aren't they? So we want to come up with our own fabric and our own patterns and make them to suit ourselves. So hopefully Anna and I have given you a little bit of inspiration, and you can decide for yourself whether this is a pattern for you. It's definitely a pattern for me, so I will make more. That is about it for all. I hope you've enjoyed this little review from me, and I'm sure you'll enjoy Anna's just as much. If you could give me a little thumbs up if you liked it, and if you watch this but you're not already subscribed, it'd be great if you could subscribe, hitting that bell to make sure you don't miss any further videos. And that is it for now. I will see you in the next video.